Some of the bravest people I ever met in my life were those that had like $13 left to their name and said some shit like, I should just take a vacation. We should take a vacation. Like, bitch, you have $13 left to your name. Where are you going? Doesn't matter. Let's just see where life takes us. Not very far.
Once again, we have something to talk about today. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I thought that I would mix spring break, since that's coming up, with vacation and people who are actually going into debt just to take this trip, the YOLO attitude. Mind you, I am not saying to not take a trip. I think trips do build memories, but I do also think that some people use those memories to convince them that it is okay to go into debt to create these wonderful memories. So we've talked about Afterpay, Affirm, and Klarna on my channel before, right? And it seems like a lot of younger people, not just younger people, people in general. I don't want to just, we're not bashing people in their 20s, because there are people in their 40s and 50s that completely suck at financial decisions as well. So we're not even going to do spring break. I just said people in their 20s because those are people typically who go to spring break. You're not going to find someone in their 30s, I hope not, or 40s at spring break. But there are people who still make the same poor financial decisions to go on a vacation. It's the, well, it doesn't matter if I have money or not. We're going to create these memories for the family and we're going to go into debt. The thing about it is, when you go on spring break, you know that spring break is coming up. Spring break is around the same time every year, right? And then if, just like holidays, you can pre-plan for this. So to me, if spring break is that important, why go into debt? Are there things during the year that you can sacrifice to not go on, or to allow you to go on spring break, or to allow you to go on the vacation? We're going to listen to this clip really quickly.
I got a title loan to go on vacation for spring break.
You took a title loan out on your car to go on vacation? You're kidding me.
I did.
To go have fun on spring break, what was it, $1,000, $2,000? How much was it?
I think like 3 or 4.
$3,000 or $4,000 to go on spring break? You took a loan out?
My dad still talks about me to this day because that was my first car. He bought it for me, and I had it for about 6 years, and they took it. It was paid for though.
You're kidding. They took it because you didn't pay off the loan from spring break?
And again, I still hear it from him to this day. He has not let it go that I did that.
This financial instability, like we said, has been going on for 10 years. It started in college when you took out a loan to go on spring break for $4,000, and then they took your car because...
We have.
Okay, so obviously the woman in this clip feels completely embarrassed that she did this. She did say we did have fun, but if she rewinded this, we could play devil's advocate. She may or may have made the same decision again if that was placed in front of her. If they were like, hey girl, we're going on this trip for spring break and you have to pay this amount, she might say, YOLO, let's go. Or she might say, I probably shouldn't lose my vehicle, the vehicle that allows me to get from point A to point B, just for this week of fun. You feel where I'm going? It's not so much that you shouldn't have fun. It's more of the fact that there are ways to plan for that. Spring break, Christmas, birthdays, any kind of holiday that your family celebrates, if you celebrate holidays at all, they all come around the same time frame every year, you know? So I think in this economy, we have to pick and choose what is more important to us. For me personally, I would prefer to skip a vacation for a year if it allowed me to kind of scale down some of my debt and then see where I'm at the next year to see if, hey, was I able to be disciplined enough to scale down some of this debt? Or am I just going to go ahead and take the vacation and worry about it later? Because all you're going to do on the vacation is you're not going to stick to a budget. Let's be real. Most people who are on vacation or on spring break using payment methods that they cannot afford to make, they're not going to make responsible decisions on spring break, because normally if you do drink on any occasion, you're going to be drinking on vacation. You're going to be drinking on spring break. It is what it is. I went to spring break. One of my most memorable spring breaks was when I was, I think, 19. And I wasn't even in college, but I just went down to Mexico. I was living in California and we had the time of our life. I didn't have social media where I had to post every moment to make it look like it was the time of my life. I just had the time of my life. I mean, it is what it is. There are ways to plan for that, though. We have somebody else that we are going to listen to, like this. 266-4344-9999-3848-2329-0000-1955. Why? And people who have children, like, if you have a teenagers, young adults, they're not going to tell us what we're doing. But I ask I'm that nosy mom. I'm that nosy mom. My daughter's either going to tell me or she's not. My daughter's very financially responsible though, so I don't really have to worry about it. She's like Scrooge McDuck. You remember Scrooge? It was like Donald Duck, like counting all the like the coins or whatever. My daughter is very frugal, so I don't really have to worry about that. But if she wasn't, I'd probably be saying, hey, you're going to spring break. I wouldn't come out and be like, girl, can you afford it? Or be like, girl, you don't have money to do that. I would just be like, hey, do you have a plan? How long have you been planning this? I would just want to know, because I don't want my daughter thinking that she has to impress anyone for social media, because at the end of the day, when that vacation is over, guess what? I don't care how many likes you got. Those bills are real. Those bills are still going to be there. They're still going to rack up. After that week, everyone's like, I like to travel. I like it. That's great. I like to travel too, as long as I don't have the memory of traveling in June and I'm still paying for the memory the following June. That's not exciting to me. That's not a cool vacation to me. If I go on vacation, I don't want to have to worry about bills. I don't want to have to worry about anything, not while I'm there, but also when I return. So that's pretty much where we're at today. Tell me in the comments, are you going on vacation this year? Did you make a plan? Obviously, I don't want you to go in the comments and say it's none of your business if I made a plan or not. If you're going to be negative, like don't even go down there. I want to hear good stories. I want to hear like, hey, we've been planning for this vacation, because your comments, people do read other people's comments on YouTube. Your comments might help somebody else. If you were planning to go on spring break and or vacation and didn't have the funds for this year and said, hey, I had to put it off for a little bit because I had other priorities. That's not a bad thing. That's a positive thing. Put that down in the comments too. It's nothing to be ashamed about. I went to 2 concerts this year. Was it this year? I went to 1 concert this year. What was the other concert? And 2 in 2024. And I had a really, really good time. Everyone's like, when are you going to the next concert? Hold up. I still have other things that I want to do. I still want to make sure that I'm not creating revolving credit. They're just other things to think about. Also, I can't imagine, like, the same people that are complaining about things that are going on in this economy right now are the same people that I'm going to see probably on Instagram throwing up the deuces, taking shots, on vacation, on spring break, but then coming back and complaining about the economy, complaining about the price of eggs. Like, save it. Nobody is, I'm telling you, anybody hears you complain about anything and the next thing you're doing is buying something that is way too much or is not worth it or not a necessity, and then you're complaining, but you're living the YOLO life and posting it on social media, like, nobody's going to feel bad. Let's see who else we have in here.
Speaking of traveling, who else goes on vacation broke as hell? Because I know I do. I'm going to Bali in a few days. To be fair, when I booked this trip, I was supposed to have a job. Booked this trip like last year. So I expected like everything would be normal. I freelance for a startup and there's always risk associated with that. But when I least expected it, my client was like, yeah, we're donezo, like come May. And once again, going on a vacation broke. I didn't think that this would happen, but hear me out. Sometimes I feel like it's the best kind of trip when you're like broke. I remember I used to do this all the time in college. Like, I didn't book flights because I had the money. I just conjured up whatever I could find and I went on the trip with like $100 in my bank account. And it gives you like such a sense of adventure. I'm not suggesting that everyone do this, but it's worked out for me so far. Like, I took this really expensive like study abroad trip in college to Australia, and it was probably like one of the best trips of my life. And to me, that's why it's like so worth it, because I'm like, you're never gonna regret traveling. And I'm sure as hell not gonna regret going to Bali. So I'm kind of excited and looking forward to what adventures are to come. We did pay for everything, like most things in advance. Obviously the flight, we paid for like most of the hotel, so there's not much else to pay for, but I'm just gonna really try to budget with all the like activities and food that we do. It shouldn't be too hard because Bali is is actually very inexpensive when you get there. The flight is probably the most expensive thing, but other than that, it's like good. Australia was different because it is kind of like normally priced over there, so I was really living on a prayer. But if you're up for it and you have that kind of character development that can get through like not having money on vacation and like make it a moment, I kind of highly suggest it.
Never in my life said the best trips that you can go on is when you are broke. I'm going to turn it off because her suggesting it is going totally against this video. So let's turn. I highly disagree with that, but you can listen to her or you can listen to me. Let's hear a positive. Let's do a little bit of jokes that I saw. This was a cute one. I'll go ahead and pop this in right now. And let's also look at this one. I thought this was a really cute trip.
So I went to Puerto Rico for spring break, and this is how much I spent. So for the flights, it was about $273 each. And then for the Airbnb, we each paid $144, and for reference, it was 8 of us. And then for the rental car, we each paid $113. And for food, I just said roughly $200 because we did get groceries, so we kind of ate at the Airbnb a lot, rather than eating out. And for excursions, we did this boat excursion for $90. It was unlimited food and drinks. It's really awesome. Then we did ATVs at Caravali Rainforest for $65 each, and the jet skis were $50. And then these are just free excursions we did, like the beach, T-Mobile District, and then of course Old San Juan. There's so much to do there, but in total I spent $935.
Okay, so on her trip, I don't know. I have a feeling, I could be wrong, that that trip was planned. It sounded like a really responsible trip, and that's where I'm going with this video. There's nothing wrong with traveling. There's nothing wrong with living your best life, but in this economy, the best way to live your best life is planned. Do unplanned circumstances happen? Yes, we do. You know, people are like, I don't know if I'm going to even be here tomorrow. But what if you are? What if you're here 10 years from now? What if you get to retirement age and you do this, you do some of the things we've seen in the other videos every single year? How are you going to how are you going to have a retirement plan? You know, unless you win the lottery or you come into some type of money. Those are just the things that I want people to think about. It's by no means a way to bash a person for going on vacation or going on spring break. There are just responsible ways to do things. And if you think about it, like most people who are self-made millionaires, not proclaimed self-made, but that started from the bottom, now they're here. They sometimes had to probably eat top ramen for 30 days at a time. They probably had to say no to vacations. They probably had to say no to trips. They probably had to block out the world and social media. I'm talking about up and coming people. I'm not speaking about like before social media. They probably had to say no to a lot of things to get where they are, to where they can say, you know what, I can take this trip and not worry about it. Just some things to think about, since I thought this would be a good discussion since spring break is coming and we're heading into spring and summer, and just wanted to know what your guys' thoughts were on it. Not here to offend anyone. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.